Hello and welcome to Front End Horse Live. Happy Wednesday. It is Component Carousel Day. I am super excited. We have Amelia Wattenberger on. Amelia, I am a huge fan of yours. Ed, thank you so much for that sub. Already starting off real hot. Chat is coming in hot. Amelia, I'm just thrilled to have you on. How are you doing?
Yeah, so excited to be here. And I'm excited because we have some options today for what we're going to build. So I'm very curious
Yes.
what we're doing.
I'm slightly afraid to give chat some choices, but I'm trusting them, and they're definitely not going to let us down and choose the most ridiculous option. Luckily, you're not giving like, what if we make this normal thing or this absurd thing? You're giving two solid choices, and either one will be a good choice because this chat would give the most ridiculous one. I promise you.
Kind of want to do that now.
Right? Yeah. Well, we'll have to have you back on for that super ridiculous one. Chat. Great to see so many people. I just want to give quick shout outs if I can. Aaron, Adrian, Manny, so good to see you. Manny's lurking. Posabin, welcome. This is your first time at the stream. Great to have you. Richard, Thomas, Steph's here. Wow, it's fantastic. Jace is here. Marlon, I'm not sure if I called you out already, but hey. Yeah, and Anthony's here. Wow, fantastic crew already right off the bat. So good to see all of you. So Amelia, it's already a big day for you. Oh, and KK Henriquez, great to see you. It's already a big day for you over at GitHub. When did you join GitHub? It's a few months ago, right?
Yeah, fairly recently. I think it was March.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's definitely a pandemic job so far. So I haven't met anyone, but
Got it.
it's been great.
Yeah, no, it seems like you are like from the things that you've posted. Whoa, so that's the confetti. Just to prepare you for later. That's the confetti. That means chat's loving it. All right, so don't be startled and think that they're throwing things at you.
A little bit scary, but I'm prepared now.
Cool. Chat commands, Alex. I don't know what you mean, Aaron. Yeah, I think Steph did one. Yeah, I'm not sure. And hey, Ben Vlenny, welcome. So you're working at GitHub on like specific kinds of projects, or like what exactly is the detail there?
Yeah, still figuring out how to explain this and also what I do. So it's kind of like the R&D lab in GitHub, and we're
Awesome.
focused on what would the future of developer experience look like. So we kind of just get to go crazy and explore prototypes, and some of them work, some of them don't work, and that's okay.
That sounds so cool though. Like it gets to it's yeah, it's like the R&D department. You get to think of wild ideas and throw them on the wall, see if they stick, kind of thing.
Yep, exactly.
That sounds, I mean, sounds kind of like a dream job for a lot of people. Like it's not everyone's thing, but I definitely see you doing well with the creativity and just the things that you've posted in terms of like the projects and the data viz that you've created around those projects have just been phenomenal. I want to give a big shout out to you still, but to your blog. You write some of my absolute favorite blog posts. So let me see, thoughts. Like some of these are just like no joke. I've been through the GitHub on this, trying to like figure out how I can like all
It's
right,
a
how
mess,
is
honestly.
no, it's really not. It's just some of it's a bit over my head, but like the way that you do like the color coordination, like the sticky scrolling here, right? Like all this stuff is just fantastic. I love so many of these. The D3 Force one I think is going to kind of come into play today, right?
Potentially, depending
Potentially,
on
depending on if the
choices.
chat picks that one, right? So
Yeah.
we'll have to see. But yeah, so many excellent blog posts. I love this one. I've referenced this one a whole bunch. So chat, if you have not seen Amelia's blog, go take a dive through. One, to learn stuff about all the different topics, but two, to be like, oh, these are some cool ideas for a blog, because I've done that as someone who has like who writes articles occasionally. I haven't done that in a while. but I've been like, oh, this is kind of like the gold standard for like how you can teach people things with articles and with like MDX. It's MDX, right? Or
Um, I think they're actually just custom React components.
got it.
It's not even, there's no markdown.
Got it. You're just popping it in
I
there.
think the only reason they look like this is because I hate writing words. And so I can't just sit down and write an article. I'm like, how can I procrastinate this?
But
Let's
like
make a component.
but like the design, like everything about it, like these details are just fantastic. Um, yeah,
Makes sense.
I just can't say enough nice things. Super stuff. Definitely gonna explore it. Anyone have any clue when D4 is coming out? I don't. Wait,
I bet you there's already a package called D4.
there's gotta be. It's gotta be already a
Actually, there
thing.
is. It's like declarative data-driven documents. It's for writing D3 declaratively, but I haven't used it.
Got it. All right. Well, get on D5, people. Get out there. Put put it down. Stake your claim. Um, No, that's it's fantastic. Yeah, so your blog is fantastic, and another thing I want to shout out super quick, and usually we do this at the end, but I kind of want to like start off with this for some reason. I don't know. Is the book that you wrote a couple years ago, Full Stack D3 and Data Viz, right? So this is a full course that you
Really
put to.
large.
Sorry, I'll try
Sorry.
to. But yeah, so if you're interested, chat, in what we touch on today, this seems like a great place to kind of go next. But we'll touch back on this towards the end. But yeah, Amelia, what's the kind of concept that we have for today? What are we getting into?
Yeah, so we are building a component for a supervillain PR website,
Exactly. I mean,
right?
you say it like that's a weird concept. You've
Yeah,
never built a
this is
supervillain
a very
PR.
serious contract that we've taken on, and we need to take it very seriously.
Yeah. So for anyone new to the stream, first off, hi, welcome. Great to have you here. Second off, this is Component Carousel. Every Wednesday, we make a component based on that month's theme. And this month's theme is Supervillain PR Agency. We've already had a globe that like helps the PR agency. First off, they've got to cover up for all the destruction that their clients are making, right? Kind of smooth things over, ease relations, global tensions, politics, all that stuff. So this PR agency has a tough gig, and we took them on to kind of help them cover for their clients a bit more. So yeah, we've created like a globe where you can see like all the disasters happening all over the world. And today we are working on a way to kind of well, I'll let you finish this off, but just kind of like explain to the chat that this wasn't your fault that we're doing this. This is my fault that we're doing this. So I gave you this ridiculous assignment, and here's what you came up with.
Um, yeah, good question. So we're going to look at different universes that supervillains live in, like DC Comics, Marvel Comics.
Nice.
I honestly don't know a lot about these different ones, and I've been learning. So, like Wolverine versus Spider-Man, these are different universes a supervillain
Those are the
could live
same
in.
unit. Those are both Marvel. I will happily geek out and yeah,
They're the same universe but separate
but
comics.
separate. Sure, but there's a lot of crossover. They're both in the Avengers. We can get into it after. It's fine. But yes, but we've got different data points and things like that. So there's lots to
This
go
explains
through.
a lot of my confusion. So we're building a visualization of probably the best universe to be in if you got to choose as a supervillain.
Absolutely. Just yeah, we don't have to get into which universe it is, but it's the better one for sure. And like their attributes and kind of like helping you see where they have strengths and weaknesses, right?
Very useful. Yes, exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. So how do we want to get started here?
All right, so we have two options. I don't know how to send them.
Yeah, so if you want to drop them either in a DM or here in the stream text chat, I just pinged you there. You can drop anything that you want, and I should have said this beforehand. But you can drop any links or whatever that you want to share with just me over there, and I can paste them here. So we've got these two kinds of options. Oh, and right, and we're using Svelte today. That was another thing
Yeah.
that I failed to mention to people as I was, kind of hyping this up, but I'm really excited about it. Why did you pick Svelte?
Yeah, um, so if we look at D3, and I think actually a good view if you go to the D3 blog post on my website, it's like wattenberger.com/blog/D3.
D3 Force or just D3?
No, I think it's further down. I don't know, it's one of these.
Cool. There we go.
Yes. So D3 is like everyone thinks of it as like I have to learn D3, but really there's all these different modules. So each
Right.
one of these circles is a different module. And the purple ones are what's built into like the base D3 package, but you can really just download them one by one.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so there's a whole one called Select or Selections. It's D3
Yep.
Select. Yeah, that one.
Oop,
So
I
that's
clicked it.
used in like a jQuery type way to like modify the DOM.
Okay.
But the code you have to write is pretty imperative. So you have to say, like, find the div with this ID and then change it in this way and then add this style.
Got it.
Whereas when you're writing Svelte, you can kind of bypass that part of D3 and kind of just like write what the DOM would look like at the end. So you're
Ah,
not
okay,
having to
nice.
together in your head. And it's a little bit easier, I think, to write this kind of code as opposed to like do this and then do that and then do this and then update it type
Yeah,
thing.
I totally agree. Awesome. That's a great explanation for why you would reach for that. Because I'm sure some people, yeah, and you could probably go with like Vue or React in that same sort of declarative way, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I use them all. They're all great.
Nice. Totally agree. Awesome. So we've got our two apps now. What is the difference between these? And because we're gonna, I think we might throw it to a poll or something for chat, to see which one they want to learn about, right?
Yeah, yeah. Huge responsibility. All right, so this one is it's kind of like there's one x-axis and then we're kind of throwing different characters on it based on whatever metric we're looking at. So these are characters and the Avengers um, ranked by their intelligence. And there's like this whole data set on superheroes. And so you can also look at Batman. So whoever's all the way on the right. Um, yeah, so
Joker
the
and Ra's
Joker,
al Ghul.
these two have been voted to have the most intelligence. And then whoever is all the way on the left has,
Poor Killer Croc. I mean, I understand why, but it still hurts, you know.
yeah, I'm sorry. This is not a very flattering
It's totally totally fine.
diagram.
I think he'll get over it.
Yeah.
It's totally fine.
So this one is fun because we get into force simulations, which are the way we're stretching the graph out vertically so that these villains and heroes don't overlap with each other.
Is it like
So like as
that
you're
kind
as
of
you're doing it, yeah, you can see that basically we're just plotting them all on the same vertical line, and then we're running a force simulation to kind of like spread them apart
got
so they're
it?
not just stuck on top of each
It's
other.
kind of like a physics simulation in a sense, it seems like a very basic one, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It has three forces, I think. So
Got
like
it.
if there were three forces in the world, this is what our world would look like.
Always wondered. That's good.
A common question.
Yeah.
All right, so this other one I think is probably a better choice, but
Okay.
less exciting, I think, to look at. So totally up to you all. This is basically just a scatter plot where you have two metrics, whichever is chosen there. So now we're looking at intelligence versus power.
Got it. Oh, there's even
So it's
Star Wars in here. Interesting. I
I
missed
know it's a
that.
weird data set, right?
Yeah, those are very different universes. See, like Deadpool and Daredevil are both Marvel. Fantastic Four is Marvel. Justice League is DC. So those are. But then all of a sudden we throw in Star Wars and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's going wild.
I think
So
those are ranked as like low intelligence, or they're
durability
fair.
and speed. So they're not very fast. I mean, compared to the Flash, sure, definitely not that fast. Durability compared to the Hulk, of course, right? Like, so that makes sense to me. Hulk, very durable.
Very
This
durable,
all tracks. So
except for whoever's on the left there.
that would be Firebird. Apparently, yeah, breaks like a twig. So I don't know all of them too well, but I know the basics. But yeah, cool. So do we want to put this up to a quick 1 minute poll?
Yeah, let's call them force versus scatter. I don't know.
Force versus scatter. Scatter is like the grid, right? Force,
Like matrix, yeah.
line, scatter. Uh, yeah, like yeah, I'll put grid because I feel like that might be what people. No, duration 1 minute. All right, people, I just got a poll going. Get your things in quick because I only put it for a minute. But yeah, so which one do you want to learn? Do you want to learn this like grid-based one where we have these 2 dimensions that we can rank things on? Or do you want to learn this one? Oh man, talking's gonna be tough today. Do you want to learn this one where we do it across the one axis, but it has the force simulations? Amelia did say that this one's probably going to be better, just to kind of like put our thumb on the scale a little bit, but we still wanted to. That's a lot of Avengers.
It's
So
more
we'll,
like learning data viz versus the other one is like force simulations are gonna be a large chunk of what we talk about.
got it. Okay. Well, let's see what democracy says. Because, by the way, I have a new kind of setup chat. If you're confused as to why I might look different or just be confused as to where I am, put the camera in the middle instead of off to the left. Things are changing around here. It's pretty wild how this is going. I want to learn what Amelia is sitting on. I believe Amelia is standing up. Is that?
It's my feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm actually standing on a standing mat and it's got like bumps.
Oh, nice.
It's super fun.
We have the
It's got
same one. We have the same
little,
one. I'm
it's my
I'm
favorite.
like I should get up and grab it and show, but just picture me holding that, chat. All right, it's all the way over there. I'm not gonna take my headphones off. But yeah, same as Act One. It's pretty
Really
fancy.
nice.
Yeah.
Except I'm always doing this in meetings, which I think is distracting.
I always go back and forth. Yeah, when I'm standing, absolutely same thing. So the people have spoken. Let's see view results. And it looks like the grid has won 85% to 15%. Thank you
Wow.
very much, chat.
I'm
All right,
shocked.
awesome. So we are in
Cool.
to learn this, Amelia. We are
Oh,
invested now. So
excited. Yeah, this is a good one because
cool,
we'll see. We'll see why.
awesome. So how do we want to get started?
Yeah, good question. All right, so I put together like a minimal code sandbox.
Cool.
I just sent you the link. It is over here.
Pulling it up.
Let me figure out how to make this screen big. All right, cool.
All right.
All right, yeah. So this is like a really basic Svelte app. The entry point is that app.svelte file over here where we're
Cool.
just rendering this charts component that we're importing from charts.svelte. So like really bare bones. And if you've used a JavaScript framework, it's just you import the components, you use the components. It's pretty great. Things are declarative. I love it.
Nice.
So the charts component, I think it renders, it's grabbing the data from
Which
this data.json
we're
file.
doing charts, right? Not
Yeah,
chart.
multiple
Cool.
charts, except there's usually only one. We also have Lodash just because I like it for manipulating data.
Cool.
We're importing chart. I'm realizing now this is very confusing.
It's all good.
And then I had to do some like manual naming of universes because the data set is a little bit messy.
Got it.
But first we can probably just go ahead and look at that data set because that's usually the first thing that I do when I'm going to visualize something.
Yeah, first off, where did you find this data? Or did you read through a bunch of comic books and do your best estimations? Is this handmade or did you download this from somewhere?
That was more time than I did. So actually, if you go to charts.svelte, there's the link at the top. It's from this like superhero API that I had to go digging for. I was
Nice.
like,
That's
what can we
handy.
do with supervillains?
Drop this in the chat. Oh, chat's asking for the link to this repo. Is that cool to share out?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's share that.
Share copy sandbox link. And yeah, that looks
And I
good.
think you can edit it, right? Or will you have to fork it?
I think if I hit Command S, yep, I just forked it. So I
But
think
is this a
I have to do
different,
that.
is this a different link though?
This one's gonna be a different link, but then the chat can start from where you were, so
Okay,
that's win-win.
cool. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. There's some README on the superhero API. They say, um,
That's really cool, though.
I think
I
they
didn't.
just put it together.
Yeah, I mean, well, like, and a lot of this stuff's from like Wikipedia, and people spend a lot of time being like, well, Hulk went up against this person and threw a
I know.
bus at 400 miles per hour, so, and then they
I
do
could
all the
never make
math.
these kinds of decisions.
Yeah,
That'd be so
so
hard.
people have done the math.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, they don't say like the criteria on their website,
Yeah,
but I trust it. This to be very factual. Yeah, so actually the way you had it in your browser tab was really, that was a nice way to look at it
you mean
here.
like this? Cool.
Yeah, yeah, this is awesome. So we can see it's an array of objects, which a lot of data sets are going to look like this. And each object basically has one superhero or villain.
Got it. So starting off with A bomb, that's appropriate.
Do you know who that is?
No, I'm just saying like Aardvark Man doesn't exist, so you start with A bomb, right? Like front of the alphabet. You want to go with the
Yeah.
A's.
Yeah. There's that object with those different stats. So those are the metrics that we have on the charts. Um,
Got it.
there's
The power stats. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, there's like all of this information in here, like their height in both inches, feet, and centimeters, which is very
Mm-hmm.
impressive.
I've
They
spent a
have,
lot of time in Wikipedia digging through like superhero biographies. They get really documented. Yeah, there's people are very into this stuff.
the tricky thing with this data set is they have their first appearance. So for Ape Sapien, their first appearance was in Hellboy, and they have a publisher. But like to go from these bits of information to what I'm calling universe they're part of,
Yeah.
it's not straightforward. So I left that code in because it was, and I'm not saying it's super accurate, but it's like searching for the name of the universe in their first appearance, in the publisher, and in their actual name because it was missing like Spider-Man.
Got it. Yeah, and then like Showcase 22 is kind of hard to.
Yeah. Yeah, what even is that?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
The reason I like this data set though is that they have that list of images. And it's really hard to get like good images for data sets.
Is that just different sizes? Yeah, that's what that looks like,
Yep.
right? It's just the one size, but yeah, that's great.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, and these images are great.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
so would you say like step
Yeah.
one is start with like a good data set? That's kind of like the key.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually it's like figure out what your data looks like. What are the different metrics you have? What types of metrics are they? Like, are they categories? Are they numbers? Is it kind of sparse or is it a really like dense distribution?
Got it.
And then I next go to like, what is the question that I want to answer? Because like you can basically just be like, I don't know, I want a scatter plot, but really with data visualization, you're trying to answer questions or you're trying to communicate something. So like it was really hard focus on what am I trying to answer or what am I trying to communicate. So for this, I didn't really do that. But I guess our question would be,
How do they match
what
up?
universe would I join if I were to switch universes as a supervillain? So I'd want to find like a really wimpy one with some wimpy heroes.
And like yeah, like where would I be at least the fastest or the strongest or the
Yeah,
smartest or something?
yeah, exactly.
Nice. Nice. Um
Um,
awesome. So do we want to head back to here or was there anything else
yeah,
in here? Okay, cool.
yeah. So that's the data. And I basically just took that JSON blob and threw it in that data.json file, and we're importing it. And then I have this code for like, I'm listing out the different universes, and then I have this filter function for figuring out who are the people in the selected universe. And there's some fun Svelte things on here. I don't know if you've gone over Svelte on this stream before.
We actually have not. This is like a computed kind of property, right? But we haven't touched on it on the stream at all. So
Yeah. Okay, exciting. So things that I'll define with let are usually things that might be changed in the future, and we'll see that down below. And then anything that starts with $:, which is legal JavaScript. It's like some syntax that no one ever uses, so Richairs decided to
they
abuse it.
they like found it in like the back of a closet somewhere. Basically, they're like, no one's using it. We can.
Might as well use this and have like real JavaScript. And then they're using that. So universe people, basically what it's doing is it's when this component is compiled, it'll figure out what are the dependencies after the equals sign. So in the definition, so it's like, okay, we're using people and we're using the universe variable. So after it's compiled, basically it's gonna create a listener for every time that people or universe changes. I'm gonna update the value of universe people. So it's just like a really easy way to have that variable always be accurate based on what its definition is.
Yeah, it's great.
Which is like one of my favorite things about Svelte. And also it can get really frustrating if you're in like a really complicated app and you have a lot of reactive statements where you don't really know why they're changing. But generally it's just really nice,
Nice.
from what I found. And
Yeah.
then
I just love this method of like you took this like your making your own categorization with just like a filter. That's that I didn't expect that. I thought you were going to be basing this off of something that the data was giving you, but that's a really clever way to create these categories. So that's just awesome off the bat.
yeah, it's sadly a really messy part of the data set, but I think it's also a messy part of the comic world is like these aren't linked to just one set of comics.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, there's lots of crossovers and stuff. Like the Ninja Turtles aren't part of DC or Marvel, but they've hung out with Batman before, so it gets
yeah.
muddy. It gets muddy for sure. Posabin in chat says that this $: is a label in
Mm-hmm.
JavaScript. Interesting. Thank you for saying that. Yeah,
I
I've never
totally
heard of that
forget
before.
what
Svelte.
that is, though.
So a labeled statement can be used with break or continue statements. It is prefixing a statement with an identifier which you can
I
refer
see.
to,
So it's
like
not
loop one.
$:, it's like label colon. So it's
Right.
basically setting $sign as a label.
That's really cool. Thank you, Posabin.
Yeah.
Awesome. All
Yeah.
right. So we got
Using
this
JavaScript.
reactive reactive value, or is that what you
Yeah,
call it?
so if we want to log that out, like on line 37, we can do like console log universe people. But this is actually only going to run once. So you'll want to make that also a reactive statement,
Oh,
so
right.
that every time universe people changes, it'll log it out. And this way, when we change that select, it'll log it out.
Nice.
Just the list of people in that universe.
That's awesome. That's really great. Thank you for all the follows. Welcome, all you new horses. Welcome, you are now honorary horses. It's great to have you. Me Too says a label with the name of a $. Other languages can jump to them with things like go to, whereas JavaScript uses continue or break. Awesome.
Cool.
That's stuff I never touch. Great. All right. So universe
So
people.
the other
Okay.
fun Svelte thing is we have this select, and there's like a little bit of like framework specific like templating language. So we can bind a variable to the value attribute. So for this select, we're binding it to the variable universe. When the select loads, it'll be set to whatever that like initial universe variable definition is.
God,
But
I
then
love the
whenever we
first one.
update the select and value changes, it'll then update the universe value, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, that's really terse. Like that's
Yeah.
not, there's no like click handler to set the
Hmm.
value and you set like state kind of stuff. This is just, that's all we needed. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I find for especially smaller apps or websites, Svelte is like the exact level of, code I want to write to explain whatever the logic is.
That's great. Well, thank you for bringing it to this project. I'm thrilled that we get to kind of touch on two things for the chat. This is awesome.
Yeah. All right. So let's build some stuff.
Yeah.
So after this, we have two more selects, which are the two metric values. We have one for the x-axis and one for the y-axis. So let's maybe name those like metric 1 and metric 2, just to keep it simple, or
Should
metric x and metric y.
I put those in here? Is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
let's do
Cool.
that. Yeah,
Are we
like
giving
that.
them a value or just doing that?
Um, I think it's good for them to have initial values, but we don't know
Cool.
what the metrics are yet. So, um,
Like a null or what are you
yeah,
thinking?
let's do that. And then to get the list of metrics, we can, if we look at our data set, we'll find that every single item in that array has the same power stats.
Cool.
Not like the same numbers, but the same object with the same keys,
Cool.
which is really handy. Sometimes data sets are like sparse and they won't all have the same properties. So here we could just do like a shortcut and say, give me the keys of the first object's power stats object.
Okay.
So you can say like const metrics equals,
Oh, okay. We're doing a new. Got it. Const
yeah. So I
equals.
think it's in data is the array. Oh no, people. People is the array of people.
Got it. Cool. Metrics equals
Yeah.
people.
And then we want to grab the first person, so we do just like 0.
Cool.
Um, and then I think it's the power stats. Yep. And then we want to grab the keys from that. So it's object keys around this. Yeah. Yes.
Cool.
So that should give us an array of metrics that we can use.
And those are going to be intelligence, strength, speed, etc. Right?
Yes,
Awesome.
hopefully. And then we can actually define, when we define metric X and metric Y, we can say like metric X equals metrics, the first item, and then the second item for metric Y.
Got it. So if we move this
Yeah,
up,
exactly.
cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
awesome. So we can do the same thing down here and like maybe even just copy paste that select.
Cool.
And we want to basically replace value with metric X and then loop over the metrics array instead of the universes array.
Replace value. Oh, here or yeah. So
Yeah,
metric.
so universe, we want to be the first metric. Yeah.
Cool. So metric.
Yes.
Or am I doing it wrong?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly right.
And then each metrics as metric.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So this is
Cool.
like this felt for loop. And it's like the array name and then the name of the variable that is each item in there.
Cool. And then this is metric, right?
Yep.
Because we're gonna reference that. And then metric again.
Yeah.
Sweet. And then yeah, we get exactly what we were expecting. Awesome. And by the way, I do just want to like point out how if this was view, we would need like a template tag that wraps this. But basically anything that's not in a script tag or I think a style tag or the other two just gets this, right?
Yep.
Or like it's just assumed to be template, right?
Yeah. It's
Cool.
like this is people like Svelte because this is the most similar to like a basic HTML page, where by default anything within the body is going to be HTML.
Got it.
And then you can have scripter style tags, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I do really enjoy the one file component thing. I don't like having like 3 different files for a component. So I love
Yeah.
Vue. I love Svelte for that. It just feels tidier. I don't know. Some people don't like it. I do. Hey, zeros and ones, welcome.
Zeros
Cool.
and ones, 217.
Yeah. you gotta choose zeros and ones. Is it zeros and ones, or are there other numbers involved? Yeah, but welcome regardless of your username. Great to have you. All right, so I think we're set up. I added metric Y, metric X, and we've got those sitting here now.
Cool. So let's go ahead and get a chart in there. Now that we have ourselves set up, we have the array of data that we want to give to the chart, and we have the 2 X and Y axis.
Awesome.
So let's import that chart component. I think there might be an import.
There is.
Nope. Yep. There it is.
Cool.
So we're really just going to throw it in there like any normal HTML element.
Okay. Can I do a self-closing, or do I need to?
Yep. It can self-close.
Cool. Whoa. Mike, thank you so much for that sub. Oh, popping in from Clarity Conference. Mike, I didn't expect you at all to be here. Thank you for coming through. Mike, really appreciate that. Good to see you. Awesome chart. Okay, so we got that there, but we're not getting anything probably because we need to pass it something. It's not like.
Yeah, I don't know if it's rendering anything either. But if we go to chart.svelte.
We have 20 problems, but I think we can fix those later.
It's the story of my life.
It's a good amount of problems to have. All right, chart.svelte.
So these are, anytime you do export let, that's like a prop in React. And I think they're props in Vue as well. So these are things that the component expects to be passed, although if they have a default value, so like equals something, they're optional. That's kind of the way Svelte looks at it. But we should pass all of these. So we want people, metric 1, metric 2. Let's actually change those to metric X and metric Y because I like that better.
Sounds good. Let me. Thank you for the follows. Play poetry. Yeah, hold on one sec. Do we have bots in here? Leah, thank you for the sub. My goodness, thank you so much. I just need to.
These first gifts.
Ban, play. Wait, play. Here we go. All right, there's some Bitcoin banking in the chat or something. Anyway, sorry to be distracted. Just don't want that. Can't have that. Do we need to? Oh, I guess it's the only reference to it, so that can be X and that can be Y.
I left the CSS in there because no one likes writing CSS. I actually don't mind it.
This chat, I don't know. This chat might argue with you. We got some CSS fanatics in here, but not today. Cool.
All right. Well, we can delete it and write it again if you guys are very adamant.
Thomas is offended. Thomas. Awesome. Cool. All right. So we have these kind of props that we are expecting. So we need to pass these in, right?
Yeah. So let's go get people, metric X, metric Y, and then we're also passing in all people. And I'll explain that in a little bit later.
Is this just people?
Yeah.
Cool. So we're pretty much doing metric X equals metric X.
And I think in Svelte you can just do
quotes.
Just the name of the variable.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think you can just do that.
They have some really handy shortcuts. And there's like fancy ones with class, right? Like
yeah, you can do like class and then colon the class name, and then anything in the braces is like a Boolean. So like whether or not to apply that class, which is really nice.
Yeah, there's some really nice shortcuts. Let's see if this one works. Metric Y. What was the other one?
Also want all people.
All people.
And this is to keep the chart consistent across universes. So we need to know what are the min and max values of both of those across the entire data set. So this is going to be people. Actually, I lied to you. I'm so sorry. So all people is people.
Okay. And then what's people?
People is going to be, I think it's universe people is what we called it. That's like the filtered list of people within the universe that we've selected.
Making sense now. Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Cool. So I think this still won't render anything, but if we go over to chart and put something in the HTML.
All right, go over to chart, put something
Yeah.
on here. Okay.
Let's put it in the middle. I like doing like
Oh,
script and then
oh, got it.
HTML style.
Cool. Like just anything, because I'm taking you
Yeah,
literally
that's
there. Is what?
perfect. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Cool.
All right. And then the way I had this set up is I had a div with a class of wrapper.
Cool.
Yeah. And there's some styles for that. And then the other thing we do here is like, this is like one of my favorite things about Svelte is you can bind something to client width. So on that div, you can do bind colon client width. Yeah. Equals, and then in parentheses, width. And we're gonna
Uh,
have to define width as a
Parentheses or
variable.
the brackets?
Brackets, yeah,
Cool.
sorry.
No, that's fine. And then width is that what
Yeah,
you said? Cool.
yeah. Yep. So we're gonna need to declare it. I'll usually use let because it's gonna be updated, and I
Cool.
don't think Svelte is strict about this, but it helps me remember what's gonna get changed. And then we can do like a default, like 500 or something. So this is going to keep width updated to the actual width of that wrapper element.
Nice.
So we have it, I guess by default, it's like full width, but this is like my favorite thing ever because otherwise you have to have some kind of like resize observer or
Yeah.
um, it's
It's
great.
it's got a few things like this. I mean, SVELTE. Let me just pull this up so that like you're
The
it's not
tutorial
that
is great too.
yeah, the tutorial is one of my favorites for pretty much like anything, like the way
Yeah.
they walk you through it, have you kind of like solve it. Great way to learn. What are these called? Just so that we can bind property, bind I don't know.
They're like,
That's some really like
I think
excellent
these,
things.
yeah, I don't know where they have it in the docs.
Is
But there's a
there
few. There's like bind like client width, I think. That's like you can query that from the DOM, but it's not a I don't know
here
if
we
it's like
go.
an HTML attribute.
Here,
Yeah,
dropping
there
this in chat in case somebody wants to check those out. Yeah, there's a few things like this, or like, yeah, for media elements, they have that, all that stuff. Bind duration, like that's incredibly useful when
I
working with
think
videos.
anything that's an attribute on an element you can bind to, which is
So
pretty
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. Great. All right. So this is going to, so as the width updates, as I do that, width is going to be set to whatever the width of that of in this case the iframe is. Got it.
Yeah, yeah. And we could do the same for height too. We have it hard coded in the CSS to 80% of the view height, which well, actually, no, we don't want to do that. We
Cool.
want, maybe let's switch this around. So instead of binding to the width, we want to use client height equals the height.
Cool.
And I'll tell you why in a second. So with this kind of matrix, you want the X and the like width and the height to be the same. Just so you have it like a very regular square.
Okay.
So after that, we can do like const width equals height, or actually, you need to just be reactive. So
Right.
dollar
Is it
sign
cool?
colon, yeah, width equals height. So, and then down on that div, we're gonna have to like enforce that. So we'll need to do style equals, and this is just like a HTML style. It doesn't need to be an object like it does in React. Yep.
Right.
So width colon, and then you can actually use curly braces here. Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
And
And then
then we
height
probably need
also.
pixels.
Ah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. So we already have height in the CSS style, but this
Okay.
will also make sure that the width is the same as the height, which is really nice.
Cool.
Yeah, what's next? All right, so and I know we're kind of racing against the time here.
All good.
So let's at least get some bobbleheads on there.
All right.
Um, so in order to do that, we're gonna need to create some scales. Um, so we're gonna need to say like, here's the width in pixels, and here are the values for, say, intelligence. How do we map from an intelligence value onto a pixels value to know where to place that bobblehead?
Got it.
Which is a little tricky. So usually when I'm doing something like this, I'll create what I call accessor functions. So underneath width, we can define a reactive variable called accessor.
Accessor?
Yeah.
Cool.
So accessor functions are basically just a function that takes a data point and returns whatever the metric value is that is going to be needed for, say, the x-axis. So here, there's like in D3, usually you'll use the variable name d for like data point. So
Okay.
we can do like an arrow function like d.
Oh, is
Yeah.
D in here?
Yeah, and then
Cool.
return like the metric x of d. So it's like d.powerstats, I think is what it's called. And then square brackets. Yeah, exactly. And we can test this out. So we can do like underneath a new reactive statement that logs out the x accessor of the first data point. So like that first person.
Okay. Oh, so
Yeah.
so accessor is a function, so you need to pass
Yeah.
people.
So people like 0. And I think your A needs to be capitalized, but otherwise that looks perfect.
You're right. Undefined.
I think it's just sending you a bunch of warnings too for the CSS.
Try to refresh.
So that should give you some number. Maybe if you change the x metric in the drop down.
Did not change. Are we passing that in correctly? Is it getting? Curious if it's getting it. Yeah, it's just coming in true. This isn't.
Oh, did we get that wrong?
Something about it is.
Oh, you have to put curly braces around them.
Oh, so this.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've been in React land all day.
And that works, yeah.
There we go.
Intelligence 38. Super cool. That's really handy.
D1 Minds knows what's up.
Oh,
all right, so
Brent had it. Thanks, Brent. Awesome.
So we want to do the same for the Y as well. And this is just like, this keeps in one place that translation. So like if the data set structure changes, it's really nice to have this in one place. And it also like sets you up for like getting in the mindset of, oh, okay, I'm going to map this value onto the x-axis or this value onto the y-axis. So now that we have this, we have to create scales for mapping in between, say, the intelligence value and the pixels value.
Okay.
And this will help us place our bobbleheads.
Perfect.
So, yes.
No, I was just gonna say it's gonna like. I assume we're gonna use height also, so it like falls between 0 and height. That's kind of what I'm guessing, right?
Yes.
Come into play. Awesome.
Yes. All right, so we're going to need 2 scales. We're going to need 1 scale for the horizontal placement and 1 scale for the vertical placement.
Okay.
So for horizontal, let's create a reactive variable called xScale. Yeah.
Sounds like one of these superhero teams. Xscale would be pretty kick-ass. I mean, that's pretty cool.
And that one right away. So we want to use something from D3, which I think I imported at the top.
Yes,
I don't remember.
star as D3.
I love it. So it's going to be a method called scale linear.
Just like that?
Exactly. Yeah. And then, yep. And then on the next line, this is usually how they align these things, is like D3, it's very chainable. So they like you'll create a scale and then you'll set methods on it. So on the next line, we can set the domain. Yeah, so dot domain.
Okay, got it. So dot domain.
Yep. And then parentheses. And then on the next line, we'll set the range. So dot range. And like these are like very unintuitive at first, but basically this is gonna like map linearly between the domain and the range. And so the domain's gonna be a 2-item array where the first item is the minimum intelligence value and the maximum is the maximum intelligence value. And the range is going to be a 2-item array of the minimum width and the maximum width.
Got it. Okay. I see. So if the lowest intelligence is 50 and the highest is 500, domain's going to be 50 comma 500. Is that?
Yeah.
Got it. And then the range is going to be what again? The pixel value there?
Yeah. So it's going to go from 0 to the width. So like the 0 intelligence is going to map to 0 because we're going to moving these people over horizontally.
Awesome.
And
So this handles it for us.
I think we can actually hard code the domains for these to 0 to 100. Because I think looking at the data set, they typically go from that. But if we see people running off the page, then we're gonna have to.
Yeah, seems like power capped at 100 for good old
and
Abe Sapien.
Very powerful.
Very powerful person, or creature. I'm not sure. Yeah, it seems like this is they've already normalized it a bit for us. It's nice to not have.
Which is really nice.
Yeah, not like 10,000. Just like a bunch of comic book nerds making up numbers. Well, he's like 5 billion strong. It's like, all right, great. I'm entering it. 5 billion.
9 trillion.
Comic book nerds, I am one of you, so no offense intended.
So this is actually one of the biggest mistakes I make all the time. So those need to be an array.
Got it.
And I always forget that, and it's not a good error. It's horrible. We don't want to go there. And then the range is going to be the same, but it's going to be 0 to the width.
Cool. And this, we don't need anything here, right?
Nope. We're just making a new scale and then setting those two.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we can actually, what I think is helpful with these scales is logging out some values.
Okay.
So if we log out like X scale of 100.
Oh, because this is a function now. Is that right?
Yep. It returns a function. And then the input to the function is a value in the domain, and the output's going to be a value in the range.
Yeah, I'm console logging like everywhere. So there we go. So 261, does that make sense?
So I think that's the width of the page.
Yeah, where am I logging that?
On line 227? Yeah.
That's X scale.
Yeah,
am I logging the other one? Am I?
No, I think it's just the one.
Okay.
I think you might be seeing the width change. Like we have that initial 500, and then it's rendering the DOM, and then it's updating the value of width.
Okay, yeah. Got it. Okay.
So there's like that weird initial render before it has to, because it has to render in order to get the width.
Makes sense. Okay, cool. So why is that 100 though? I thought that was going to be 500.
So it is initially 500.
Right, because we've like I thought 100. So if someone has 100 intelligence, wouldn't they be at the max?
Yeah, exactly. So try this. Try resizing the preview, left and right. Did it not log out anything?
No, it did not.
Maybe. Try resizing it vertically. I forgot we set it on the height.
Oh yeah, we did, didn't we? There we go. 308.
So it's like there's like the initial width of 500, and then it's rendering it, figuring out the height, and then it'll also do it on resize, which is so good.
The window was 261 tall or whatever, right? That's what it was. Okay. Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was still going to be 500 tall. I don't know why I thought that, But yeah, makes complete sense now. Okay, cool. Thank you for taking your time and explaining that to me. Cool.
I confuse myself too.
Awesome.
Uh, yeah, so those are scales. They're like probably one of the most confusing parts of using D3 or plotting things. So if you understood that, that's awesome. Um, we'll want another scale for the y-axis.
Okay.
So this is
I'm curious, why do we need another scale if they're going to be the same way, or is this just good practice? Because they're both going to have the same things, aren't they?
use the same scale, yeah.
Okay.
We could just
Uh,
do scale.
I mean, I'm
Oh,
happy to, but
actually, we do want a different one. And the y scale is a little bit different. Instead of going from 0 to the width, it's going to go from height to 0. Because usually charts, as you move up, the y number goes up, right? Because usually
right.
the 0 starts on the bottom left. But
Got
then
it.
for SVG, you start, or we're actually not even using SVG, but we're going to position them so that 0 starts at the top. And as you increase, it moves it down.
Got it. Cool. I'm
This weird inverted thing, usually
yeah.
with y-axes.
I knew you had a reason. I clearly didn't know it. So thank you for answering that. Awesome.
Yeah, no, it was a good question. All right, so now we can actually draw some stuff. And I have a CSS style for, yeah, for something with the class of image. So what we can do is within chart, we'll do one of those Svelte for loops. So like curly braces, $sign each, and we'll want to map over the
Is it
people. Yep.
$sign
Oh,
or
no, you were right, and I was wrong.
okay? Cool. Each. I'm still getting used to these, so
Exactly. Nope, me too, clearly. And we're gonna go over people as
say a
person or whatever.
cool.
And then for each of these, we're gonna want to render a div with a class of image.
Cool.
And we are going to want to give them some styles. So
On the div or in
just on that div.
cool.
Um, so we want to set the background image first. So we're going to do background image, colon, and I think you used URL for background images, right?
URL like that, you mean?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And then in curly braces, we're going to do person.images.sm. I think that's what it is in the data set.
Cool. You can check real quick. Images SM.
Yes.
Yep. Perfect.
And then we're gonna want to position them as well. So we can do transform, translate, and then yeah, in there, and we'll do X scale, accessor.
Inside here.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Got
the
it.
person. So you're taking that data point, you're using the accessor to grab intelligence from it, and then you're passing that intelligence value to the X scale.
Oh, okay. Now I was like, this seems a little like simple for like why would we bother making a function that seems so simple? But um,
It comes
it's
in handy.
yeah, for sure, for absolutely. Like now it makes a lot more sense. And then so
Yep.
I'm guessing, comma everything the same, but why?
Yep. And you'll because these are CSS values, you're gonna need a unit as well.
Thank you for reminding me. I always forget that, and then I sit and stare and wonder
Me too.
why I am bad at this. Why doesn't my code work? Yeah, need units.
And I'm sure I messed something up. So we're gonna
Um,
have to figure out.
do I need a comma in there? I always forget which ones don't need a comma and
I
which
don't know,
ones
comma's
do.
good. Comma's
Okay,
good. I think
transform,
that's right. And I think
translate. Do we need a size on this? Because we just have background image, but we don't have a size.
let's look at that CSS class real quick.
Class image doesn't give a size. I'm just
Yeah, we do need a class. The
oh
size.
oh
Oh, yeah, okay, that works. Yeah, so let's do like
oh.
height is
Is it just that it's too small? That this area is too small and they can't They're getting
No, let's
no
give them
reading.
like an explicit size. Let's
Okay.
do height is 10 pixels. I don't know. Maybe that's too small. Let's do
Getting
20.
there. Nice.
Nice. They're cute.
All right. So we got intelligence strength, and if we change this, it shifts around just like we wanted to. We can't. I can't tell you yet for sure whether or not this is accurate. Once we can like see some names, I'll be able to verify or deny.
That's the Unity, so.
Yeah. So durability. So when it matches up, it's just pretty much a one-dimensional thing, right?
The height variable starts at 500. Oh, I didn't see that it went to 0. It starts at 500 because we're like coding that. We're like hard coding the initial height. I don't know why it would go to 0.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they're coding along.
your window might be really small. Or
Sure.
make sure that you have that CSS class and attribute
Here,
that's setting the height to like
I can
um,
share mine out just in case this helps. Oh, hey, Code Spells. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody. I'm just dropping that link for Postibin in case you want to compare what I've got to what you have. But Code Spells, thank you so much for that raid. Welcome, everybody. We are learning D3 with Amelia Wattenberger. We are working on mapping out some awesome superhero and supervillain data based on their power stats. We've got some interesting info coming from the superhero API, and Amelia's kind of showing us how to use D3 and Svelte. And this is where we're at so far. We just got them kind of the images shifting around to match their values on the two axes. So super cool. All right, Amelia, where do we want to go from here?
Yeah, good question. So we can draw the axes. We had like the two lines, one like in the middle and one in the middle vertical with the labels on it, which might help us out.
Awesome. So I just want to shout out Code Spells. I botched it the first time, got it the second time. Yeah, that sounds great. So how do we want to hit that?
uh yeah, so in the HTML, yep. So
Cool.
under that each, we can add a div with a class of I think I called it horizontal line and vertical line.
Um, so
Yes,
inside the
there.
each or underneath?
No, underneath, sorry.
Cool.
Just because we want it only once.
Yeah, you said underneath. I was just making sure. So div class equals horizontal line.
Yeah, I think that's what this yes, this
Yeah,
class is.
and underneath makes so much more sense. I don't know why I was thinking inside. That wouldn't make any sense. We would get 50 of them. Vertical line, horizontal line. Yep, that checks out.
And then you can put the I think I made it so you can write the label within the div and it like just positions it
Oh, nice.
in a weird way.
What's
So that's gonna be
metric X or
let's
metric?
see it. Oh
Cool.
no, my styles. I don't know what's going
um,
on there. I don't remember how I wrote them.
oh, good. We do have font style italic, so we should be seeing some of this stuff. Horizontal line. Yeah, so I should at least
Let's do
see.
that one in the vertical line and then we'll figure out what's
Yeah,
going on.
sounds good. Vertical line, metric Y.
What is going on? It's like not taking any of the styles, is it?
Not yet. I just like how you like. We'll figure it out later. Then 2 seconds later, like, what is going on?
It's later now, unfortunately.
Exactly. Yeah. The payoff was so immediate.
Yeah, that's
um,
my usual procrastination not working.
we'll do it after this next div. What is going on? Uh,
Yeah, let's expect that. Or like,
let's refresh. See if
like doesn't seem like it has any styles. Oh,
apparently a refresh did it. That's
fixed it.
all right. That works.
Um,
Cool.
so
That's
maybe
great.
arrows would help. So like this is like more strength or max intelligence. Whatever labels we think will help orient the viewer.
Okay.
I'll leave it up to you, Alex.
So yeah, so I think like arrows just denoting like this is, yeah, or like higher strength or higher
Mm,
intelligence. Would the word higher work for higher speed, higher durability, higher power,
yeah,
higher combat's a little weird, but I guess
combat's
for
a weird one.
yeah, but I guess we can would is higher like is that kind of what you mean? Am I
Yeah, yeah, that's
all right?
great.
Cool. All right, yeah, that's definitely clearer that like that's up, and an arrow would probably help too of like just on that end.
Hmm.
Is that what you're saying? How would you
Hmm.
add that? Would that just be a CSS thing or is that a D3 thing?
I would look for a Unicode arrow because I'm lazy, or you could just do a caret.
Yeah,
Carrots
right.
are
Or let's see, arrow. Let's do an emoji.
yeah,
Um, I
yeah.
don't know if yeah, there we go. That one works, and then we need an
Perfect.
up emoji. Up,
Oh,
up.
the hand.
Just shout up. All right. Higher strength. It's italic, so it's a little bit like off to the side, but
I
it'll do for now. That's fine. Zeros and One says the fact that superheroapi.com requires a Facebook account to get an access token makes me sad.
You can just copy and paste the entire JSON if you want to do it that way.
Yeah, apparently this works just fine. So
I
uh,
hacked it. I checked out that HTML.
it's
What is it? I
perfect.
decoded the HTML.
Welcome, Captain Red Green. Good to have you. Awesome. Okay, so this is looking great. So if we kind of flip through, so first we got Avengers, we got X-Men, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool. And then intelligence, strength. So if we do both, it's the same axis basically.
Yeah.
Combat. And so now we kind of want to like be able to see like who is that, right? Or
Who
do we
is
want to save that
that?
for later?
No, that seems like a logical next step. Let's
Cool.
do that. And it's so like a first stab at this would be because these are each their own element. So
Okay.
on that image, we can add mouse enter
Got it.
event listener. And the way you do this in Svelte, super cool, is always you just do on colon and then the event name. So mouse enter is a good one.
Cool.
And I think it's all lowercase.
Thank you.
I think.
I always screw those
So this
up.
is gonna
I think
be
you're
a
right.
function. Um,
Doing declare the function up there or put an arrow function here.
we could just do it here
Okay,
to
cool.
keep it simple. And then let's just log out, like on a new line, just to cut this guy up.
Like, I put three, but I meant E.
Yeah, that
Like
works.
that.
Or we can just log out the person since we have access to it.
Good
And these are
call.
each going to
Okay,
be individual functions.
that
Yeah.
makes sense. All right, so we got that. I'm hitting save. I'm hitting refresh because we found that that's a thing we have to do.
Yeah. I did a
Um,
workshop in Code Sandbox and like that'll bite you.
really?
It's weird, yeah, when they load new things and when they don't.
That's interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, I haven't worked too much in Code Sandbox, but I
It's like great, except when it's not,
yeah.
as usual.
So we've got
I
power
haven't
stats.
done. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, good call. So
Uh,
strength should be really high,
yeah.
and intelligence should be medium small.
Yeah, less than the mean it
Less
seems.
than
Is that
average.
no, is that the median there? What would that
That's-
be in this case? The mean?
Yeah, median is like
The
it's
dead
really useful
center.
in heavy-tailed distributions where like income, where people get like crazy incomes, but you want to know like what the average person makes. It'll like count into the middle and see what that middle person makes.
Got it.
Whereas the mean's going to be super skewed by like people making $10 million,
Billions.
right? Like that's going to bring it up.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Cool.
Um, One thing we need to do though, because this is wrong, and we can see that by the fact that that circle, although it's the maximum intelligence, maximum strength, it's sitting below the top of the chart as
Okay.
opposed to like in the middle. So we need to center those circles. Like they're right now positioned by the top left corner, but we
Got
need
it.
to scoot them up. So the way we can do this is, yeah, in this translate function, we can actually just, in that same function or declaration, we can use a calc function,
Okay.
just like my favorite hack. So yeah, before our curly brace, we can do calc parentheses -50%, or whichever order you want, plus that pixel value.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. And we'll want to
Got
do the
it.
same for the Y value. And this is just a way to mix units in CSS. Yeah.
Yeah. See, the chat loves some calc. I know that for sure.
Oh, calc.
Um, Pusabin says, or you can add a second translate, -50,
Oh, yes, you
-50.
can. Can you?
What
Can
I
you
was,
chain translates like that? Because that's really cool.
yeah, I didn't. Okay, Pusabin, thank you for teaching us that. I I was gonna go with transform origin and put that in the center. I don't know if that would have done it. I might not have done it. But that was my guess. I think the way that you're both coming at it makes more sense. A little bit tidier, but
You could also do like negative margins in the CSS because you know the width and height of it and it's hard coded.
it's cool how many different ways you can approach problems like these, right? Um,
CSS. Classic CSS.
yeah, cool. So it's looking great. Yeah, it's the center of good old A bomb is now like at the top of that line, so that makes
That's
sense.
awesome to see.
That's what we want.
All right, and then the last thing we can do here is um, we can add a tooltip, but tooltips are kind of annoying to position. So initially, let's at least put like something in the top left that
Cool.
just displays some information about whoever's hovered.
Awesome.
Yeah. So after that vertical line, we can add a div with the class of tooltip.
Let's see. We don't get Emmett in here.
I think you do, but it's like really hard to trigger.
Huh.
You have to
Yeah.
use the command palette, which is frustrating.
Interesting. Okay. And are we gonna like set a variable here or
Yeah, so we're gonna want a new variable called hovered point or hovered person, whatever inspires you at this moment.
hovered person works?
I like that. So here we're gonna want hovered person, I think it's .name.
Cool.
And we're gonna want to wrap this tooltip to make sure that there is a hovered person. So
Ah,
it's the same as each. It's not $, but hash if. Yeah, exactly.
cool. And then the like backslash if.
Yeah, yeah, yep. Yes.
Cool. And then we want to set it in here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes.
Cool.
So that should
It's doing it.
just
It's working
um
perfectly, just not where we want it. Tooltip, position
it
absolute.
might be a code it might be a code sandbox thing again.
I think we're gonna refresh.
It's weird. It like didn't compile with the styles that weren't used. I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's funny. Do we want to do a mouse on mouse leave?
We could do that.
Totally. However you have it planned. I'm not trying to derail.
No, I wonder because we could do that per person, or we could do it on the wrapper. So like, um, and this is another thing. So we can only have it showing when you're hovering this specific circle,
Okay.
or we can do a mouse move listener for the wrapper, and wherever your mouse is, find the closest point and then show that one, which is really useful for scatter plots with really small points.
I would love to learn how to do that. Yeah. Good.
Let's do that.
Awesome. Yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
so yeah, let's do an event listener on wrapper. That's mouse move.
So on
Yeah,
mouse move.
yep. And we do want the event object here.
So
Do like,
E with an arrow. Cool.
and then I would press enter here just so we have some space.
Nice.
Yeah. exactly. So we'll want two variables here. So const x equals e dot client x.
Is that camel or all lower?
No, it's camel case.
Okay. Cool.
Um,
Whoa, hold on. Now Emmett decides to show up? Are you kidding? Emmett, way too little too late, buddy. What are you doing?
story of my life.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
sorry.
One thing we're going to want to do here is this is relative to the page, I think.
Okay.
So we're going to have to get the bounding box of the wrapper.
Okay.
And then subtract that from both x and y. So on the line above this, we can do like const bounds or whatever equals and we can just get it from e. So e dot target dot what is it? I always forget it. It's like get client bound rect. I'll look it up. You'll look it up.
Yeah, let's figure this out. Get bounding client rect. Yeah, that's not a no offense to
I'll never remember that.
yeah, that's a tough one to name and an even tougher one to remember. So no, yeah, that's rough. Okay, cool. So that's a function we're calling now, right?
Yeah. So we'll want to subtract bounds.left from x.
So bounds
yeah.
left. Oh, so client x minus bounds left.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like x relative to the chart.
Cool. So then, like even if this is super wide, 0 is still going to be right here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll want to do the same thing for the y position.
Bounds dot top.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So we have a few options here. What I did in the sandbox I made before is there's like a get closest position function in somewhere. I don't know.
It exists.
I can grab it if we want it. The other thing that's really fun is we can make a Voronoi diagram with the positions in the chart, which basically just makes polygons around each point to find for every point in this chart what is the closest dot, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, did you see Captain Red Green mention that? Awesome.
Yeah.
I was about to say a bit later, Captain Red Green, if you're into Voronoi stuff, we have our friend George Francis on pretty frequently. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He does phenomenal generative art. Just great stuff, which you also do. That was another thing I wanted to shout out. You have so much stuff that I wanted to shout out, and I missed one of them. But yeah, your art has been just I've been enjoying it. I don't have good words right now, but I've been really liking it. So if you want to mention that at the end and drop that link, I'm not sure how like off the main account that's supposed to be or whatever, but
I don't even know either. It's a great question.
But yeah, like I didn't want to blow up your spot if you didn't want it blown up.
That was a secret, Alex.
Damn it. All right, it's fine. No one's watching this. Those are bots. No one would show up for 2 hours to watch this. So don't even worry about it. We're totally fine.
I was gonna ask, is this 2 hours? Do we have another half an hour?
No, it's just two hours flew off the tongue a bit faster for that joke. We have a few minutes, but I don't like if we got stuff going and if you aren't like I need to go immediately, I'm not gonna cut you off or anything. So
no, just have like my real job, but let's not do that.
Cool.
I can take up the time.
Okay, cool. I did not want to keep you any longer, but also I'm good to continue. So chat, are we good? We have to ask chat's permission too. If chat's okay, or if they have to go do a thing, then we have to stop. That's the rule. So if chat's busy, okay, we're good. All right, cool. All right.
So Voronoi, I always forget this because they changed the API. If you look up D3 hyphen think it's Voronoi, or it's Delani. But let's look this up. So yeah, let's do that second one. Let's find the actual docs.
Okay. D3.
So look up. It's gonna be D3 Delani.
Oh, that's not how you spell docs.
This isn't gonna get you there either. Oh no, it might. So if you go to, they're like individual GitHub repos. If you go to API reference, I think that might help. Yes.
Right here, these?
Yes, exactly.
Whoa. Illinois.
Yes, if you
okay.
click that header, it'll bring you to the repo for this module. And this used to be external to the core bundle, but now it's internal. So we can use this. It's going to be great.
Awesome.
And I think if you scroll down, it'll give you like a diagram. These always look really cool. Nope. Yep. Maybe more scroll. Yeah, so these are really cool because for every point on this canvas, it'll draw a polygon around the areas that for every point in that area, that point is the closest point. Horrible way to explain that.
No, I think that's exactly what, like, I don't know if there's any other way to explain that. Yeah. It's kind of like it goes, yeah. I think you got it.
Oh, and Landro, yeah. Landro's great too. We could also use a quad tree, which is potentially the most performant way to do this.
Okay.
It doesn't look as cool, but but it's like there's always a trade-off with like how many points do you have. Yeah, I think quad tree is going to be the fastest, but let's go with the Voronoi because I think they're the most fun.
Cool. Yeah. And Leandro, thank you for sharing that and welcome to the stream. Good to have you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So you got this. How do we use it? So like for yeah, so for someone who's like coming into D3 for the very first time, I've never touched it. Like do I have to install this, or is this going to be included with asterisk as D3?
So this is newly included.
Okay, got it. So back to
version 6 of
your
D3.
okay, sorry, I did not mean to cut you off. Back to your reference, everything in purple here is in that asterisk, like asterisk as D3, right? Like so.
Yeah, so this is funny because it's that gray circle up top, which means it's not in the core bundle.
But
Oh,
you'll
so
update
okay,
this.
so D3 was like an external library that you would use. But now D3 Delani is in the core bundle. It's no longer yellow, it's purple.
Cool.
I need to update this.
File a PR, people. All right. Amelia's got stuff to do.
Yeah, like this stream.
Cool. Okay, so it should be part of what we're importing.
Yeah.
So now we've got to figure out how to use it. Do you need to reference this, or should we just go for it?
I think they should do. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to make an array of XY positions.
Okay.
And then we're going to do Delane. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'm going to keep saying it like that. From, and then that array. And then we want to create a Voronoi diagram from that. So we do Delani Voronoi. We do 0, 0 within the height. So it doesn't extend out.
So it's like a view box in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. And then whenever we hover over a point, we can do Voronoi dot, and I think it's dot find, and then just pass in the XY position, and it'll give us the closest index, I think, of the point. We'll find out.
Awesome. All right, cool. Let's get into it. All right. So is this all happening within this mouse center, or?
So it'll be more performant to do this once, ideally, whenever the data changes. So under here, sure, we could do a reactive statement of, let's make the points first. So like points equals people dot map. Let's map over all of our peoples. And then, yeah. And then we're going to return an X and Y position. So here, we're going to basically do all of the hijinks we did down below. So it's X scale, X accessor,
Where
person.
was that?
It's like all the way over to the right.
Got
Yeah.
it. So this.
Yeah.
Cool. Oops. Oh, of course I carried to the next line and it shut down. All right. Should I copy or am I getting rid of that entirely? I guess
No, let's copy it.
cool. Return that. And then is this in an array? I think it is, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So then
Yep.
comma y scale y accessor.
Yes,
Cool.
exactly.
All
All
right.
right, so we've got points. We could log it out, but I trust that that's right.
Cool.
And then we're gonna want the like Delane. I don't know what the
I
term is.
so we're gonna need to like do like oh, here we go. Dot D3 Delane from points, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So what are we assigning this to?
New
Delane.
variable. You could
Cool.
call it that. You're gonna want it to be reactive though.
Reactive though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just grabbing that because I'm not gonna try to spell that offhand.
And
Cool.
then under this, we're gonna want to create a Voronoi.
Voronoi.
Yes,
That's it.
exactly. And that's gonna be, I think it's just Delane.Voronoi, and then we put the view box in there. We'll see if we're wrong. Probably pretty quickly.
0, 0 width
Yep,
height.
exactly.
All right. But we shouldn't see anything yet because we're not using this.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So on the mouse move, right there, in like line 45,
Okay.
um,
Here.
just do like
That's
point index equals Voronoi.find. I'm guessing here. And then I think an XY, yeah, position.
cool.
Let's log that out because I could be very wrong here.
Let's go. Just logging it out with that so we can at least see that it's labeled.
Okay, that's not a function.
Not a function. We made it up.
It's gonna be all the way near the bottom of this.
D3, get on it. That should be a function. Yeah, at the very bottom here.
Yeah.
Update.
Oh, maybe we could just do Delane.find. For Voronoi, what you can do is you can render each of those cells and then do like a mouse enter. So instead of on the points, you could do a mouse enter for the cells, but I don't want to do that because that's rendering a lot of DOM elements.
Got it. Okay, so
Let's try Delane.find.
okay, cool. That seemed to work. Should we have stuff in the console now? Point index -1. All right, it's just all coming out -1.
Let's also log out the X and Y to make sure we're right there.
Okay, cool. Point index X, Y.
Yes. Okay, cool. And then let's also double check the signature of .find to make sure it wants an XY position like that.
How do we do that?
Let's go over to the docs.
Cool. Wasn't sure if you knew a cool code sandbox hack to that. Do that. This is quad tree. So close this out. Awesome suggestion. Appreciate it.
So if you go up to Delane.find, or you just search yet. Okay, so it's not an array. It's just the 2 points.
Cool. All right, nice. Probably want to create Voronoi diagrams from points.
We may not actually need the Voronoi. We might just be able to use the Delane if this works.
So the point index is definitely changing.
Awesome. So let's see if it's right.
Yeah, so point index 0 because A bomb's definitely first, and that's exactly okay. So right now there's like a hidden Delane or Voronoi, like a combination of those. I don't totally know the difference, but
The Delon.
basically, okay. But basically, right now there's like an invisible one of these,
Yep.
or something that I'm like able to hover inside. So like I'm near A bomb and I'm I'm inside this polygon. As soon as I shift over to this one and it's like Cyclops or something, it's gonna
Yeah.
change to that index.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah. The cool
cool.
thing about the Voronoi is you can render them and then you get that like spider web, which looks really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Uh,
like the tightening and the loosening or whatever of them, like do you know what I
oh,
mean?
like
Or
the move, it looks really cool.
yeah, like if we just did this, it would look kind of like it would not look great. But if we let it like settle or something and they kind of
Mm.
like spread out and even out, it's just I don't
With
know.
the force simulation, yeah, that'd be really cool.
That'd be really cool. All right, so instead of hovered person, do we want to do like an index, or I guess we could just set hovered person here at point index, right?
I like that.
Hovered person equals point index. Oh no, sorry. People.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll usually use the index just because like
Then you
in
can
case the object changes, but there's no reason to do that now.
got it. That
That's
doesn't make, and then so you would then instead put it here where it's like people brackets index.
I'd do like a reactive statement under like hovered person index and then just do it that way. But
Cool.
I like it this way. It's
Okay.
simpler.
Um,
So or one thing, we want to take out that on mouse enter. Not that it should matter,
good
but we don't
call.
need it anymore.
Good call. I am noticing it's kind of chugging along now. I'm wondering, like,
I
or
wonder,
it might be some kind of a leak or something. I don't know.
might be.
But
You could also nuke that the line 36 where we're defining Voronoi.
interesting that, okay, interesting that A bomb pops up
You
when,
know, I think it's because if we log out e.target, like on line 42, I wonder if that's going to be pointing at the children elements. And I don't know if
yeah,
e-target's like the wrapper or if it's like the immediate element being hovered.
yeah, I think you are correct because, because 0, 0 up here is going to map to A bomb. And
Mhm.
so now, like, we'd be in 0 or whatever. So that's why it's going back to A bomb, I think.
So there's a few things we can do, right? We
Yeah.
can like make it so images don't get any hover elements. Like if you hover an image, it's like the pointer, but
Pointer
it's not.
events none. Yeah, we can do that. I
Or
mean that.
we can save a reference to the wrapper as in a variable, um, and just use that to get the bounding client rect.
True. Either way.
Or we
Oh,
could get it from the event. I just don't know what property it is.
E dot target closest is what posts have been saying.
Yeah, you could probably do that as well.
Awesome.
But
Spoiler
let's do
alert. Cool. See, I told you, chat's fantastic. Posts have been really showing up. Thank you so much.
Yeah, these are great suggestions. It's like Copilot,
Yeah.
almost.
By the way, as an official GitHub spokesperson, as someone who works at GitHub, I freaking love Copilot. It is super
It's
cool.
so, it's so good.
It blows my mind with like just how it takes my comments or like how it just kind of knows like that some of the stuff it's come up with. I'm like, wow, that's wild.
Really,
So,
really. So you're
uh,
still gonna want to get the get bounding client rect
okay,
just that way.
and
You'll just
then
want to do it of the wrapper. So you could do like e.target.closest and then dot wrapper.
got it.
Exactly.
That was on autopilot there a little bit.
Pilot.
Wrapper. Oh, whoops. That's not how you JavaScript. That's how you
Yeah,
JavaScript.
that should do it.
All right, and then yeah,
Nice.
nicely done, Postman. Thank you so much. Yeah, and Postman caught my error already. Sweet.
Yeah, so this is really nice because you don't have to get like right on those circles, which can be
Yeah,
really frustrating.
And like you said, like if this dips back to like 10 pixels or something, especially with the overlap, the overlap gets tricky. How would you handle that? Like I'm not saying we need to like make this the perfect chart or whatever, but would that
No,
become like a
it's a tricky
force?
one.
Got it.
I did use that in the example just because there were some that were like right on top of each other.
Right.
It's not ideal because it's like kind of faking the data, right? You're like, oh, this person looks like
Uh,
they're more to the right than this other person. And with charts, you want to be really careful with moving things.
yeah, because if
Um,
people are identically like in the same intelligence and speed, yet they have to be pushed apart, one's going to be slower and one's going to be not as intelligent, right? Like,
not sure from our very factual data.
yes, right.
Um, when you're not using images, you can do opacity, um, or you just make the radius smaller. But there's no like great uh, solution there other than
Full,
opacity.
foolproof
Usually will do it.
solution. Or just telling them, please view this on a bigger screen. That always helps if you have to specify the user's viewport.
They're
So
like right on top though. It's really I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know what to do.
yeah, it's tricky. This is so cool though. D3 is yeah, like I'm still trying to get my so it's just JavaScript. I was
Mhm.
expecting, and I don't know why. I was expecting just a lot more happening within the DOM, and not having it more within like the script here. I'm not sure what I was expecting honestly, but yeah, I'm kind of surprised. This accessor thing is super handy to have. I'm super intrigued. This is this feels super powerful, and seeing the things that you've created and everything that's on the D3 site, like all those examples, are those good to like pick up and like tweak into what you need, or do you feel like these are kind of like a bit more advanced and you should start a bit slower?
So the thing with D3 is most of at least these examples are going to be like that jQuery imperative coding style where you're manipulating the DOM
Right. Okay.
without
That's
a
what I was.
templating language. The best examples these days are on observable, which is like Mike Bostock's what he's focusing on these days. And
Who is
it's
that? Is that the
observable
person who made
HQ.
D3?
Yeah. He's the father of D3.
Got it. So observable HQ. How do I know this company?
They're around. They're doing like it's basically like Jupyter notebooks for JavaScript. So, but it's like very embedded in the like D3 and database community. Where
Got
like
it.
there's tons of really cool examples here.
Oh, that's really fun.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, this is
Yeah, like
great.
you'll just get lost. You like open one and you'll be like, oh.
Yeah, this feels like a code pen that I haven't like gotten into yet, right? Like there's like all these like cool like code pen because I could spend hours on code pen. So like toys like these are just really fantastic. So you recommend coming here. Is there a specific is this like a good thing to link to for people?
It definitely is. Yeah.
Awesome.
If you want like good D3 examples, they're in here with the caveat that it's not entirely JavaScript. So there are
Okay.
like some observable specific things you're gonna have to learn and like kind of work around. And it can be confusing if you're learning like D3 and JavaScript and observable at the same time.
Okay, that definitely makes sense. Would you say that this might be a good place to go if people wanted to learn D3?
If you want to dive deep in D3, it's a good reference. It's like I was really frustrated. It's like basically with D3, you need to bang your head against it for a few years to like kind of wrap your head around it because all of the examples are like the like draw an owl thing. They're like step one, draw a circle. Step two, question mark. Step three, here's an entire chart. So I
Drop the
tried to
rest
break
of it.
it down with like these are things I've learned.
Awesome.
But the observable is good for like if you just like tinkering. This is like if you need custom interactive charts, that's when you'll want to use D3. And there's also a video course that I recorded. If you couldn't tell from my massive head or the screen.
Sort of. I'm trying to scroll past it quickly just because I know how awkward it could be to be like just chatting and all of a sudden, yeah, just big, yeah.
It's like
Um,
my least favorite thing, yeah. And like listening to my own voice.
I am right with you there, which
Yeah.
is why I question what I'm doing every day. Like, why? Yeah, why am
I have to
I?
watch your streams.
That's very true. That's very true. Audience, I'm sorry that you have to put up with this, but yeah, no. So this seems absolutely great, and this is with were they always called New Line? Is this a new
It
name?
used to be full stack, hence the
That's
name
what
of
it,
the books.
that's what it was. Yeah, they've been putting out stuff for a while, so very cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's some really good books here.
awesome. And your blog, would you say it's also a good resource for this kind of stuff? 'Cause I think you write about lots of different things, but I've definitely seen some D3 things that I've at least understood a bit more thanks to your blog posts.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like this is also how I learn things. So
Yeah.
um there's some good ones. There's like a D3 one, there's a React and D3 one. There's a few on the force simulations that we didn't go over, but they're super cool. Um so
Oh, that's
if you're
cool.
curious.
The relaxing thing or whatever there, just of like
Yeah.
that's really
It's my
satisfying.
favorite.
Yeah, and like just your eye for design and everything, I just really enjoy whenever you put something out. Your Cascade article is excellent. The CSS
I haven't
Cascade.
referred to that one often.
Nice.
Like that has not been encoded.
Like chat, check this out. Like as you scroll, I remember sending this around to people being like, "We look at this. This is so cool. This is such a great way to like just keep the interest throughout a thing and refer to the table of contents in a more engaging kind of way. Like, just love it. Love your work. And do we want to talk just super quick? I know I'm keeping you 15 minutes over already. About the generative art side of Amelia Wattenberger, or
Sure, it's very casual.
yeah,
I have a Twitter account. It's Milliwatt, which is I think my old Skype username.
how do you spell it?
Millie. Oh, maybe it's. Is there an underscore after it? Did I not get this username? There might be an underscore.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that's funny. I lied.
Nice.
Yeah, I couldn't get that one. So this is just my excuse to play around with like 3JS and React 3 Fiber and
Yeah, but like,
uh,
look at that. Like, it's just like that
it's
just makes me very happy. It's really cool. Houses. You made some really cool ones with like was it like arcs or whatever? Hold on, I'll find it in just a sec. But like these are
it might be the one above this,
uh
like
n-
those.
no. I'm thinking like the one sec.
Oh, the Tory.
This.
Yeah, if you go to that URL, actually, it will slowly render one of these.
Oh, awesome. I have not been here. This is super cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so the cool thing about generative art is like they're pseudo deterministic based on the seed. There's like some random function generator. Like it's really slow because
that's
there's
all
a lot of
good.
elements over there. So that first slider is the seed for the random number generator.
Got it.
Um, so like with any of these algorithms, they'll like there's like certain things you can set. Like I want this random within this range or around this number, or and like set the distribution of random numbers, which like figuring out what should be random, how random it should be, and like how much leeway you should give the computer is always really fun.
Yeah. We've done at least like 4 or 5 generative art sessions, and there's some of my favorites. Like
Yep.
they're super fun. Like it, yeah. The constraints, like making everything about it. I can't speak intelligently to it, but I just know that like we've kind of built up a generative art mini community. Like we even have a channel that's just dedicated to that in our Discord. If you're not in our Discord, dear audience. I think we have links every few minutes, but I'll drop one. And yeah, some phenomenal generative artists in there. Some of them are in the chat right now. But yeah, I've been loving the stuff that you've been putting out on this account. I'll drop a link to that as well. Yeah, Amelia, just keep doing awesome stuff, because I enjoy it, and I know that other people do too. So thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, like that. The fact that these are like just so good, and the shape of them are different. Everything, so cool.
I Alex saying nice things on my Twitter.
That's really why I wanted to share this. I wanted to point out what a good guy I am. So yeah, that's really that's the theme for every stream, really. That's no, but thank you so much. Was there anything else? Oh, and there was GitHub today. GitHub Universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go watch that right now. But
yeah.
after.
Yeah. So chat, go watch GitHub Universe. Tell them Amelia sent you. I think she gets a referral bonus for each person that goes and says that. And so yeah, this was just an absolute blast. And thank you, chat. Entry hit says thanks for the stream. Got a little bit of confetti. Thank you, Brent. David, who is Miodai, says love that the clouds go over the frame sometimes. Very inspiring work. Leah, great to see you. Thanks for coming through. Yes, was there anything else that you wanted to plug or mention or anything like that?
No, this has been super fun.
Awesome.
I would plug this stream, but we're already on it.
Please do. We can use it for a soundbite later. I'll run commercials with it. No, but thank you so much, Amelia. And yeah, chat, if you're not following already, drop a follow and stuff. I'm saying that because tomorrow, actually tomorrow and Friday, we have fantastic shows. I'm going to plug those super quick, because tomorrow we have the fantastic Kevin Powell coming on. Next week, we actually have one of your coworkers. I know it's a big company. I know you don't run into each other in the hallways. But we also have Brian Douglas on next week, who's another fantastic person over at GitHub. But yeah, tomorrow we've got Kevin Powell coming on to teach us about CSS Subgrid. I haven't used it yet. I hear it's fantastic. It just like solves a bunch of problems. I'm excited to learn it. Kevin's really bullish on it. He wants to get it pushed into Chrome, so he's coming on and kind of like sell us on it and show us how powerful it is. Then Friday, we've got a super special episode, super spooky one, where we're going to have about 9 trick-or-treaters coming around to the stream, teaching us something, telling us about something really cool for about 20 minutes. And then the doorbell might ring and we might get someone else in. So it's going to be 3 hours of just people coming through. Real spooky stuff. I hope you're all here for it, chat. It's going to be a blast. Yeah, so there are going to be costumes involved, so it's going to be a lot of fun. That's our Halloween Spooktacular on Friday. So yeah, please keep coming back. You were a fantastic chat. But yeah, that about does it. Amelia, thank you again, and we're gonna find somebody to raid. So chat, don't go anywhere, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks so much. Bye.